Buenos dias, Gunnerz Collective TV. Back at it? You already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye. Bye. Let's get straight to the intro. Welcome back to the channel, and if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that I stay kicking, and I appreciate all the support. I'm very humbled by it. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, okay? I'm going to put the Gunner character to the side, and I'm just going to speak real, right? I'm going to speak facts. I'm going to give you the knowledge you can't get in college. I'm going to express my opinion and how I feel. Now, I don't want any of my supporters that feel one way, decide to unsubscribe because they feel I'm pushing a narrative or I'm in support or not in support or whatever. Just hear me out. And this is my reasoning for the way I feel about what's going on right now. Riots, melees, protests, people hurting other people, people destroying people's lives, families being torn apart, chaos. This is what's happening right now, okay? All over the United States. We are a divided country, truly divided. We divide ourselves, right? We pick and choose our battles just right along as picking and choosing our politics, our church, or what we're going to wear that day. There's a lot of picking and choosing going on in your daily life. You pick and choose if you're going to get up early and go to work or if you're going to go to work at all. You pick and choose a lot of things, but you don't pick and choose life. Meaning, you don't ask to be born to the parents you're born to. You don't ask to be born in the country you're born in. You don't ask, to be brought into a world that's impoverished or to be a part of a community that basically doesn't get the same, they don't get the same things that others may get. Now, that doesn't mean you can't work hard and earn things, right? What it means is you might just not have it like that other guy has it. And you didn't pick and choose that, but you can pick and choose to be better. Okay? What we got going on right now with I.C.E, I do not agree with. Okay, I said it. I don't like how it's all playing out for everybody on both sides. We're human beings, all of us, right? We all have say-so in what we're going to do with our lives. If you choose to go out and protest on a weekend because you are very adamant about how you feel and you have an idealism, whether you got it from the news, the social media, the news, or that's just how you feel inside and you want to go protest on behalf of the illegal immigrants that are being snatched up and their families divided, more power to you. I respect it. I respect people standing up for what they believe in. I always have, right? But also, if you are a person that's just going out to see what a protest is like, to educate yourself, to stand on the sidelines and peep game, right? I could respect that too. Always striving for education is a good thing. Now, if you're an antagonizer, a person that wants to go out and create chaos, chaos begot chaos. If you go out there and you're antagonizing the situation, you're no longer fighting for the freedoms and for a good thing. You're now becoming part of a bigger problem. You're throwing fuel on the fire, right? If you want to go out and throw rocks, if you want to go out and beat up innocent people because you don't agree with them, then you're nothing more than a gangster, a gang member. See, all my life, I was talked bad about. I was looked at a certain way because of my tattoos, because of my bald head, because of my idealisms when it came to the gang life, because of my incarceration, my past, my history, because I was hurting people, because I was victimizing people. I understood that everything that I gained, all the negative attention, was well deserved. I'm going to be very, very transparent when I say I understood and I deserved everything I got. But that was because I was doing bad. When you are out protesting ICE or protesting anything that you choose to, and you do it in a proper manner, you carry your signs, you march with the people, you voice your opinions, you create a narrative of realism, you speak on facts, educated, well thought out thoughts and voice, that's great. When you go out and you fight and you jump people and you're carrying weapons, you're no better than I was. So don't get mad when people put you in comparison to a gang member, to someone who has that mob mentality, because that's exactly what you're doing. For the same reasons I was ridiculed and talked about my whole life, that's the same reasons why you are. Do I agree with ICE? Fuck no. Okay? Has La Migra always been around? Have illegal immigrants always been getting deported? Always. It seems nowadays the focus and the attention is more so on ICE and what they're doing, not because they're killing people or because they're out there in the streets, or they're going door to door, they're snatching people up off their cars. All these things they have done. Yes, they have, right? In real life, in HD. But this is not the reason why people are so upset. The reason why people are so upset is because now it's being focused on. And it's being focused on as part of a bigger agenda. Now, I'm not here to talk about that bigger agenda. Whether people dislike the president of the United States or not, I don't care. That's not for me to sit here and try to politic and get you on a certain side or to get you to not like him or to like him. That's that man. You like him or you don't. There's things I agree with them with, and there's things I fucking don't. Okay, that's just straight up. But as far as people believing that he's the one that implemented all this chaos and blaming one man for it, but at the same time going out there in the streets and jumping on people and beating up people because you're not getting what you got, you seem like a kid in the playground that didn't get played with. And now you're upset. And now you're mad. Okay? I understand sometimes when there's bad things happening, you have to fight fire with fire, an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. I get it. I understand how people feel. They're tired of being picked on or snatched up or hurt, and they're going to fight back. I come from an era of fighting back. Mama told me fight back. You better whip his ass, right? I come from that era, so I understand that thinking, that mentality. But you also got to understand that there's repercussions for every action. See, mama told you better beat his ass. Then mama whipped your ass for getting in trouble for doing it, right? So there's always going to be repercussions. With what I'm seeing now, it makes me sad for the world, for the state of what we're involved in and what's going on now, because we're all involved to a certain degree. Whether you stay inside your home or you're out there protesting and you're out there fighting with ICE, and you're out there trying to back the play of people, I get it, but we're all involved. Involved to the point now where we can't even send our children to school because we don't know what type of propaganda they're going to get fed one way or the other. We don't know if the kids are going to leave school because every other kid is pumped up because of what they're seeing on social media that's telling kids to leave school. Look, never tell a kid to leave school. Tell a kid to strive for education. Tell a kid to go to school, not leave school. What is that going to accomplish? It's going to create more chaos. And if you don't want to see people getting killed and hurt and beat up, then keep your kids in school. Stay up off those streets. You can protest in so many different ways. If you're going to do it, educate people. Don't educate them on something you don't even know about. ICE has been around for several years. And for those that don't know, ICE was implemented after 9/11. And it was implemented for a good thing. Okay, after 9/11 and the attacks, whether you want to believe that was an inside job or not, I'm not here to dispute that. I have my own theories on that, and I don't necessarily believe it was an outside entity that came and got us. I believe it was from the inside out, but that's me, right? But it was implemented and created. ICE was, see, before ICE, you had La Migra. You just had Border Patrol, and you had certain officers, and basically kind of like a task force that was created to go into places where they thought there was illegal activity or illegal aliens. And when I say illegals, I don't just mean Mexicans, illegals from all over the world that had come, overstood their visas, or came into the country illegally, and they were being snatched up. Let me tell you guys a story one time. So I worked at this company, right? And there was a dude named Federico Paisa. Good fucking dude, man. Hardest worker there. Solid dude. He worked, I worked at a company that created, they created, what are those called? Roll bars, right? And he worked in the painting department. So he would paint them. There was a big industrial, like oven type thing. And it was hot in there, man. He had probably the hottest, hardest job in that place. So we'd sandblast with these beads. We'd sandblast these bars, and he'd go in and he'd actually hand paint them with the spray thing. And then they'd coat them and cook them. And that was it, right? And they were sway bars, not roll bars, excuse me, sway bars. And this is what he would do. This was his job. And it was him and a couple other paisas. And look, there was paisas in there, and there was Russians in there, and there was Somalians in there, and there was a lot of different people from different backgrounds. We all got along. We all ate lunch the same and at the same time. We might have ate different things depending on our culture, but we all ate at the fucking same time and went back to work at the same time. Wasn't no one getting anything extra. This dude might have had a potato sandwich, and this vato might have had a taco, but guess what? Taco de papa, sandwich de papa, was all papa, right? So we were all eating together, laughing together, and became friends. And Federico was a good family friend of mine. And I remember one day, just like the movie Born in East LA, boom, La Migra came, and people started running and scattering everywhere. And this was my first indication that there was more people there at that company that didn't have papers or were wanted than I thought. Me, myself, I'm Chicano. I was born in Modesto, California. I'm legit, right? So I wasn't tripping. This was something new to me. I'd never been a part of this. It was an eye-opening, eye-awakening experience. And when I seen it, my first instinct was run. But then I realized, for what? I don't have to run. This for the first time in my life. I don't have parole, probation, none of this. I ain't got to run nowhere, right? But second of all, my second instinct and second thing was I was pissed because they were snatching people up, throwing them on the ground, treating them like animals, right? And I remember when I had been snatched up for committing crime I did do. I'm not sitting here and saying I wasn't a criminal. I was a bad one too, right? And I remember getting snatched up, and I remember how it felt to get them cuffs slapped on tight and get beat up and stomped on by the cops. And I felt like it was over excessive force, but it was force because I was out there over excessively creating bad force, right? Didn't care when I was snatching people up and stomping them out and kicking them and jumping them. None of that mattered to me. I didn't think about protesting for that, right? I just did it. So as I'm watching this, I went through a lot of different emotions, but the homeboy Federico was scared. I could see the look in his eye. There was nowhere to run. So I hit him. True stories. There was like a lot of beads, these beads that would sandblast this machine. I told him, go in this big machine. It was hot as fuck in there. I remember I told him, go hide under those beads. He did, him and another paisan. And the immigration came and they went, right? And they didn't find him. And he was very thankful. To this day, man, he has my number and he taps in every blue moon just to see how I'm doing, right? And I remember thinking to myself, did I even know what I was doing? What if this dude I never asked him for paperwork. I'm on the streets. I never asked him of his background. I don't know if he was doing bad things to people, if he deserved to get snatched up. But my instinct as a brown person was to protect someone who looked similar to me, someone that came from that same bloodline, right? The sangre. And I did that. Now, at the end of the day, I understand exactly what's going on with ICE right now. People are frustrated because it's in your face. You know, we see things like them snatching people out of cars, threatening people. I believe ICE are too full of themselves at this point. I believe they feel empowered. I believe that this administration has emboldened and empowered them. They feel like because they have the backing of the president and whoever else that they can go out and basically they are kings amongst kings. They can go do whatever they want. They have a free golden ticket, a Willy Wonka golden ticket to create havoc and do what they want to do. And then when people fight back, they have the means to take it to the next level. We are seeing people shot. Now, I'm not going to sit here and protect and say people that have been shot by ICE or people that have been harassed or hurt didn't deserve it. Because I could tell you right now, in my opinion, that chick out there in Minneapolis, you know, she should have never been blocking people in the streets. She should have never been creating fucking chaos. She should have took her ass home to her kids. When you put yourself out there, you're out there. This is a crazy world. Anything can happen. Now, people are going to say, well, it wasn't a justified shooting, but it was a shooting. Do you think anyone, when I was in my gang life, that was walking around talking shit, that it was justified to shoot at them or shoot them? No, absolutely not. There's no justification for killing anyone or creating violence. There's nothing. Words should not hurt that much, right? But people will use any excuse for drama. Right now, what I see what's going on with ICE is a created drama, and it's gone too far. I believe if you want to beat someone, you beat them with success, you beat them with education, you beat them with being smarter than them. Okay? You pay no attention to the man, the wizard that's behind the fucking the veil, right? You don't pay no attention to him, because the more attention you give him, the more you are on the opposite side screaming and throwing rocks and fighting and yelling, the more they're going to do what they do. You got to understand, ICE has the power right now. They have the backing of something bigger than all of us, right? And it's only going to get worse before it gets better. So all these protests, and I understand about your right to go out there and scream and yell and fight for your people, but I look around and I see very, very minimal amounts of Mexicanos, of raza. I see a lot of white people with Mexican flags. I see a lot of people that are burning American flags and disrespecting America. We are Americans here. And this whole fight is to allow people that, whether they came over illegally or not, to stay in America, yet there are people burning the flags. There are people disrespecting America. There are people burning stores down, creating chaos on the streets of America, destroying the same land that you want people to live in. I don't get it, right? Now, I'm not going to disagree with, like I said, fighting the good fight. If I see an ICE agent myself that's overstepping, and this goes with any man, not just ICE in particular, but any man overstepping or disrespecting a woman, a child, anyone, especially people that I feel a certain way about, right? I'm going to speak up. And look, I understand that ICE was implemented for a good thing. Like I said, the 9/11, their whole thing was to keep people, to keep out attacks, to monitor and vet people, which is what we should be doing as a country anyways. Every other country does it. You think Mexico's just allowing people in? Fuck no. They're not. They're stopping them at the border. Canada stops you at the border. England will stop you at the... No one will let you come in without the correct documentation. So I understand that. Does it seem a little petty that this administration is enforcing this rule? It does, but it's been like this forever. Every administration has done it. Everybody has done this. This is nothing new. So when I'm asked a question, how do I feel about ICE? They want me to say, fuck ICE. They want me to say this. I understand what it is. I understand it was created, but just like gangs, just like barrios, just like fucking any type of organization pretty much was created for a positive reason, for self-empowerment. It was created, to protect and to defend. There's always a few bad apples that spoil the whole damn bunch. And I see, like I said, these ICE officers being empowered now, feeling like they're better or more than everyone else. And that just is more fuel to the fire. As far as people going out there and falling into that evil plan and fighting with them and that's not going to stop nothing. You're just going to make them madder. It's going to get worse. So for people that say, hey, Gunner, you voted for Trump, you defend ICE, you support him, fuck you and them. I do not support ICE. I do not support kids being torn away from their families. I do not support people that, go out and their whole mission is to harass and antagonize other people. This whole ICE thing was created to vet and to find criminals that are really out there doing harm. Look, I understand if you get down to the legalities of it and the small fine print, right? that people are tripping because, well, they're saying if you come over illegally, that's breaking the law. Yes, that's breaking the law. That's petty shit. If they're working and doing good, let them do their thing. That's how I feel. Yes, it's illegal, but we should be more focused on trying to find the real criminals. And I understand there's people that are going to say, well, you know, it's hard to separate one from the other. It's not, because they separated me from my family very easily. I was the criminal. They weren't. They separated my ass and put me in prison very easily, right? You're going to, if you know, you know. So my whole thing is I don't support all these protests and chaos, because a lot of the people that are out there are just out there to create it, to create drama. They don't really support the people. They don't even know the people. They don't want to help the people. They don't want to go feed them and give them water and clothe them and help them come over and do it legally. They don't want to do any of that. They want to go out there in the streets and break in stores and throw rocks and beat up ICE officers that also have families as well. Just because a dude's an ICE officer doesn't automatically mean he's against you. There's a lot of people that are joining that force because they want to make sure and hold others accountable. Yes, there's bad apples. There always is going to be. But you have to realize and educate yourself on what's really going on. What's the bigger picture here? The bigger picture here is to create as much chaos as possible and to divide the country. And those who have put that into position, those that are playing chess, not checkers, they're winning. While all the people like myself, you, and everyone else that's out protesting and doing all this, we're the losers. We are being utilized to wake up in the morning, to make a fucking poster board, to go out there and to be a fucking sheep while the wolf is eating everything up. Pay attention, right? All I got to say is, you know, when asked, do I support ICE and what they're doing? I do not. Okay, I do not. But at the same time, I understand that it takes two to tangle. Both sides, man, are acting a fool right now. And people that just want to be responsible and raise our children and go to work and do things like that, we are the ultimate losers. You know, there's people, you got to understand, like you see these protests of these ICE buildings, man. I remember I went to the Portland one, and man, it was wild. It wasn't as bad as I guess it is now. I'm not going back to that shit. I went and I seen a lot of chaotic stuff. A lot of good people, too, that I interviewed and were willing to sit down and speak their piece with me on both sides of the aisle, right? People that were liberal, people that were conservative, a little bit of everything. Me being an independent, I could do that. I could chop it up with everybody because I agree to a certain point with everybody. I just want to see better come out of everything, right? But when I see people that live in that area, like there's condominiums right there. You know, these people are trapped in their homes. You got people protesting. You got smoke grenades going off. You got all this fucking chaos going on. Man, imagine the property value of their home. Nobody wants to live there. Nobody wants to be there. People can't take their kids to school. They can't go to work. They can't do shit. They are prisoners in their own home because people want to protect other people that they don't even know. And nothing has got accomplished. All throughout the summer, all now into winter, there's been protests and protests and protests. What has changed? If anything, it's gotten worse. So if you figure out by protesting and going out there on the streets and screaming and yelling and doing your thing, that's going to change something, it's not. All that's going to do is make people more mad, and they're going to retaliate, and it's going to be a back and forth thing. See, in the beginning, it was people just protesting and rocks being thrown. Now people are actually getting killed. And people are getting more upset. People are getting arrested, and they're getting killed. And when you go to jail and you say, hey, I'm in here because I was defending the raza, they're going to say, we don't need you, eh? Straight up. I'm just saying, let me know what you guys think. That's how I feel. I was asked a question, you know, do I support ICE? I do not. I do not support what they are doing now at all. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. That's the betterment of all people. Bang, bang.